Okay, so last time we finished with Ukraine. So let's start with it this time. Ukraine imposes travel ban on Russian media heads, including Russia Today's editor-in-chief. Ukraine's president has imposed personal sanctions against the heads of top Russian media, including Russia Today, citing national security and sovereignty concerns. The travel ban, however, has been mocked by those who were targeted as a recognition of their merits. On Friday, Petro Poroshenko signed a decree imposing special personal restrictive measures against the heads of several leading Russian TV channels and news agencies, including Russia Today's editor-in-chief, Margarita Simonyan. The document blames Russian media heads for violating human rights and depriving Ukrainian citizens of proper rights and freedoms, as well as posing a potential threat to the national security, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Ukraine. Yes, because we can't have anything disagreeing with the national narrative, can we? Now, this thing has been marked by the Russian media, and Miss Simonian actually wrote, "I do officially invite all those in the club to celebrate it with Crimean champagne," she tweeted. Good on you. Now, this is how Ukraine treats its media now. And every media that dares disagree. We know they actually wrote a demand to BBC to report on the conflict only the way they see it. Well, the BBC told them to go fuck off, basically. Now, there is a little update on the website that's publishing private information of international journalists, the one set up by an aide to a minister of Ukraine. They have an update. They updated it with 300 new names of journalists. Because that's how they play. 300 people more on the target list. Well, I suppose at this point, feminists can be cheering for Ukraine, because Ukraine has done something in the name of diversity now. Because there's so little women in so many areas. Well, now we have diversity in a new category. We have diversity in war criminals. Meet Nadezhda Savchenko, a woman which is basically responsible for the murder of 2 journalists, because she gave away their positions to a murderous militia of Nazis. Well, neo-Nazis, but it doesn't make a difference really. So it was basically an ordered hit. Now, this woman was convicted for 22 years of prison, and she was released to European strong-arming. And technically, Ukrainian officials met with the families of the murdered journalists. Now, those families actually asked for a pardon for her, but think about it. Someone murders your closest family, your brother, your husband, and would you really beg for forgiveness for them? I mean, there are some really good people like that, but would you beg for forgiveness for them after meeting officials from the country which is responsible for this woman? Because to me, this kind of stinks. You never know if they weren't threatened. But you know what? Doesn't matter, she's a murderer. Ukraine just called her a hero of Ukraine and a martyr. Just like they did with the UPA soldiers. Those guys that murdered 100,000 people for simply not being Ukrainian in 43. In the name of an ethnic cleansing. Carrying on. A bit further from Europe, Muslim mob stiffs, beats, and drags elderly woman through streets, tortures Christians home in Egypt. A Muslim mob stiffed and beat an elderly woman, parading her through the streets of an Egyptian village, following rumors that a Christian man had an affair with a Muslim woman. The men also set 7 Christian homes on fire. And as we see further, that mob consisted of around 300 men. So that's not a small mob. And this actually happens in what's called a civilized country. Now, it's just, yeah. And they say in those cultures you're supposed to respect the elderly. And this is what we're importing to Europe. And anyone who dares to actually protest this gets bullied. A German dentist has been targeted by a leftist bullying campaign for his political views after it became public that he is the spokesman of a local branch of the right-wing Alternative for Germany party. Now, Mr. Marius Radke, 64, so almost a 70-year-old man, a practicing dentist in Berlin, was targeted by extremists after his part-time job as spokesman for the district branch of AfD became known to the public. The story has been developing for weeks but seems far from being over, Radke told Russia Today Deutsch show, Der fehlende Part. Earlier in March, he received an open letter from Berlin Independent Dentists Association urging him to step down from all professional unions because of his political involvement. And the open letter was actually followed by a bullying campaign. Extremists from the Antifa branch distributed flyers against him in his neighborhood, picturing him as a racist. It was actually titled "A Racist in the Vicinity." So, a man cannot possess his political views now, or he will be bullied, and he will have his business shut down, and he may be afraid for his life. You know, these are typical SJW tactics. It's just like we saw with that Christian baker which refused to bake that gay wedding cake. If you don't conform to what they want you to, they're gonna run you out of business and destroy your livelihood. Because this is the way they do things, because really these people don't have factual arguments. They can't cite numbers, they can't cite studies. The only thing they can do is bully people, call them racists. Everyone who I don't like is a racist, is a Nazi, is literally Hitler, as we've heard before. So, yeah, that's what exactly they're going to do if you say something that disagrees with them. They're going to ruin your life, because they absolutely have no other arguments. Yeesh. And if this wasn't all enough, outrage over Turk masturbating on sleepy woman on bus. Now, you know, this is relevant because Turkey wants no visa travel into the EU. There has been public outrage in Turkey after an employee at one of the country's largest bus companies was caught masturbating on a sleeping passenger. The victim says it reflects oppressive environment against women in the country. Well, when I usually hear oppressive environment against women, I treat it as feminist bullshit, but when it comes to places like Turkey, where that kind of treatment is engraved in cultures, I actually believe them this time. Because this guy that masturbated on this woman was actually released. He was questioned and he was released. He technically got fired, as we read later in the article, but that's all that happened. The police didn't arrest him, they didn't put him in jail. And that woman actually waited an hour for the officials to arrive with that cum on her face just so they could gather it for evidence. And the shitbag gets let go. Is this normal? Because I don't think it's normal. It's definitely not normal in Western culture. But you know what? Now, let's welcome all these people. Let's welcome the flood. And you know what else? Let's give them money for shopping. Right? Just like the Dutch are doing. Because some Dutch residents are outraged currently after finding out that a few cities have been offering as much as 10,000 euros to refugees to buy furniture and other necessities, local media reported. Now, asylum seekers who get allocated to certain towns in the Netherlands may get as much as 10,000 euro to buy furniture for their homes, according to research carried out by the daily Brabants Dagblad. Talking to local authorities, Brabants Dagblad found that the sum of money varies in different municipalities. But a place called Oosterwijk in South Netherlands offers as much as 10,602 euros for a family with 2 children. And it's a gift because when in some cities they offer less and you actually have to pay back that money after you get a proper job and start contributing to society, no. This place, Oosterwijk, just gives them away. Over 10,000 euros, like, here's a gift. Like, be happy. Let's all share and redistribute, right? It doesn't matter that a lot of people in this town actually live under the poverty line. No. It doesn't matter that are homeless people who might have ended up that way during the recent financial crisis, and even though they worked for years, maybe even decades, in honest employment and paid their taxes, and now they're landed without anything and they have to beg for money to buy bread and they sleep on the streets. No, they get fucking nothing. But these people who never contributed to the country, never paid any taxes, never did anything for their country, for this country, they just came in, get over 10,000 euros. You know, for 10,000 euros, you can actually buy a pretty decent car. A new car in a salon. And they just get that. Yeah, go ahead. You know, like, they give away free samples of bleach in the supermarket. So yeah, they just giving away, like, here. Go ahead, 10,000. Have fun. And you know what? They actually have at the end of this article a spokesperson from IKEA estimated that with 10,000 one could buy plenty of nice furniture there. Well, you know, technically this is kind of advertising yourself, but that's true. 10,000 can get you a lot of good furniture. And not only IKEA furniture, which we know is kind of... I'm not gonna criticize IKEA that much because... I don't want them to flag me or something. But the thing is, for 10,000 euros, you can actually get pretty top-notch furniture. But no. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure those necessities include a TV with cable. At least. And internet, you know, that's a necessity. I'm pretty sure that's in the things you can buy with it. And an iPhone. Or any other smartphone, because yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was okay too. Because, it's the Netherlands. It's a very advanced country. And in the more advanced countries, people sometimes forget what's a necessity and what is a friggin' basic. And what is luxury. They just don't differentiate from necessity, from basic living, from luxury items. No, let citizens starve in the streets. Let's give over 10,000 euros to refugees. Why not? But you know what? With all that, it's actually they who are in danger from us. Because Pope Francis claims so. Remember Popey from last week? Oh yeah. In what the Vatican is billing as a summit on the migrant emergency, Pope Francis met with a group of 400 schoolchildren from the south of Italy on Saturday, assuring them that they have nothing to fear from migrants but should be reaching out to welcome them. Yeah, let's brainwash children now. The students all came from the southern Italian region of Calabria, which has been among the areas hardest hit by the waves of migrants that daily reach Italy's shores, mostly from sub-Saharan Africa. Excuse me, but the last I checked, Syria isn't in sub-Saharan Africa. During the meeting, which took place in the Vatican's Paul VI Hall, the Pope brought forward the life jacket of a Syrian girl who died while her family was trying to reach the shores of the Greek island of Lesbos. Talk about emotional blackmail. Look at this poor little girl that died when her parents tried to cross illegally into Europe, even though it's safe in Turkey. Look, poor dead child. Cry, cry, I'll tell you! That's how it fucking looks. Now, Francis also brought out a number of children's drawings that he received as a gift during his recent visit to a refugee welcome center on the island. The Pope embraced a young Nigerian boy named Osayande, who saw his family die beside him in the sea while trying to cross over to Italy. Let's remember, these people are crossing over mostly from Turkey. Turkey is a safe country where there is no war. Francis invited all the children to pray the Hail Mary out loud together with him, in memory of all the migrants who have died at sea, especially in the memory of the 6-year-old Syrian girl whose life jacket he was carrying. How about you pray for the Italian homeless people? The Pope then entered into a lively exchange with the students regarding the acceptance of immigrants. During the conversation, the Pope urged everyone to awaken from indifference and leaving aside excuses, to welcome others as brothers and sisters, invoking the parable of the Good Samaritan. You know what? I actually remember that story. And it has nothing to do with immigrants. Nothing. Welcoming means taking care of others. Now, taking care of others, yes. But not if they plan on conquering you. And may I stress again, sub-Saharan Africa. Syria, which is in war, is not sub-Saharan Africa. No. It's not. It's really not. I remember this from geography in high school. It's not there. No. This is the best part. Migrants are not a danger. They are in danger, the Pope said. He then had the group repeat several times together with him, "They are not a danger. They are not in danger. They are in danger." This is how you brainwash people. This is how you actually brainwash people. Those are all tactics of brainwashing. And yeah, you know what? Technically, maybe they are in danger. When you rape people, you may get STDs and AIDS. I guess they're in danger of that. The stranger, Francis said, is not dangerous and bad. No, a common stranger isn't dangerous and bad. But when you see crime statistics, they kind of point with these people a different direction. He should not scare us just because he has a different skin color, to culture, to Indians and Sikhs are very nice, or religion, since we are all children of the same father. Dude, no matter how you try to justify it, it doesn't really work that way if we're talking with a culture which is based on the idea of bloody conquest and violence. And a lot of people there follow it. And so what that you say it's 30%? Islam counts, 30% is the real violent radicals according to research. Islam counts 1 billion and 0.6 people. You know what 30% of that is? That's 500 million almost, 30% out of 1.6 billion is almost 500 million people, which are radical. That is more than the entire population of the United States of America. That is actually more than all of America, and add to that like 2 Frances. France times 2. That will be more or less that. Now, after the meeting, one of those kids said that people who do not welcome migrants are beasts. So the brainwashing clearly works. Everyone who actually has some kind of self-preservation instinct, everyone who cares about keeping his country safe, keeping it from financial collapse, on the edge of which Germany, for example, is currently teetering on, is a beast, apparently. That's the new definition of beast, Cool. Despite his strong words to the children, Saturday the Pope recently expressed his reservations regarding an open door policy. Well, maybe this guy should make up his mind, because he first talks about a reservation and then he tells to welcome all the refugees, welcome. But I'm gonna keep sitting behind my 60-foot wall. That's thick as fuck. Yeah. This guy is really pissing me off. Week after week he's getting worse. Last week, several thousand more migrants reached Italy's shores, many of whom were rescued by the Italian Coast Guard in the Strait of Sicily. Along with the survivors, as many as 60 bodies have been recovered from the sea, and hundreds more are reportedly still missing. People, again, The rules of asylum and seeking refuge are that you are supposed to stay in the first safe country you reach. These people reached places like Turkey. Turkey is a safe country where there is no war happening. There is no war there. They shouldn't be allowed to go further into Europe because by doing that, these people are basically welfare shopping. They don't want to stay in Turkey. They don't want to stay in Greece even. No, they want to go to places like Germany or France, which have a rich welfare system, to Great Britain, which actually pays people for having kids. You know, if you have like 8 children, you pretty much don't have to work because they pay you for every single one. They pay you welfare for that, for just breeding. And, you know, that's perfect for these people because they have that many kids. So it's being set up for life. And we're actually allowing this to happen. What is the friggin' mentality behind these people, especially behind this guy? Because we're dealing with someone who last week compared the religion he's supposed to represent. He compared Christianity, he compared Jesus to ISIS. And said that disciples are in the same nature of conquest as ISIS. I mean, come on. Any child that grew up in the Western society, regardless if it's Christian or not, knows that sending out people to spread peacefully and to love some philosophy, which is how it actually was in the Bible, because I actually know that friggin' story because they taught me that in elementary school. That's not going around beheading people, burning people alive, cutting out their organs, raping people, chopping off their limbs. No, that doesn't work that way. That's not comparable. But this Pope compares it. And now he's brainwashing kids from school. That, you know, it's the migrants that are in danger. They are not a danger. They are in danger from us. From us. Well, apparently, what are they in danger of? Well, clearly us. Clearly Europeans. Because we're such violent Neanderthals. And shit. Now, you know what? Really, the only things these people maybe are in danger is when they go out raping and they get an STD or AIDS from it. So yeah, that's the only thing they may be in danger of. But otherwise, give me a fucking break. Just give me a fucking break. Over and out.